I'm Karl Sanders from Nile, and you are watching Metal Blast.
This guy really didn't know your name or your albums? Nothing?
He had no idea who I was.
Alright. Is it the first time that happens to you?
Every once in a while, it does happen. I try not to get insulted about it, but I feel like, people should take metal journalism seriously. If you're going to be a metal journalist, you should care about your job.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that I would also be concerned about pissing off whoever I'm interviewing.
I agree. Anytime that two human beings are interacting, I think there should be some kind of courtesy and respect exchange.
Knowing the name would be one of those.
That would be one of them. Exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, regarding your live album, your solo album,
Yes, sir.
Exorcism and Sorry Meditations, they represent a style that is very different from that of Nile. It's actually a more atmospheric and much darker style. Is that why you decided to do it separately? You thought that style just simply wouldn't fit with Nile?
Well, actually, the genesis. I'm not interrupting your text.
No, I have the questions. Don't worry.
Okay.
I'm not rude. Not really. Yeah.
You'd be surprised. I've been doing interviews where somebody got a text and decided to do texting while they were and people are crazy nowadays.
They even start with Karl, your album, Story and Meditation.
Wow.
It's your
Now see, that's preparation.
Right.
That's preparation.
People don't write they come here without having questions.
There are some people that even show up with no recorder and expect to write it down with a pencil and paper. Yeah. In fact, it's a great story. We were in Ireland, Dublin, Ireland. In any case, the guy shows up and he wants to write down everything that I say with pencil and paper. So he does the first two questions and he scribbles something. And then I say, well, let me have a look at that, right? And he had taken these beautifully thought out answers and reduced them to 2 words. And so I said, dude, I'd love to do the interview, but please, can we do this with a recorder so that, it turns out okay? And he actually got insulted and wanted to argue. Well, come on. So he actually took out a whole page blog calling me names. Yeah, and I was like, come on, man. Anyway. The Story and Meditations originally started because on tour with Nile, I have so much death metal every day between soundcheck and the other bands, support acts. It's literally 5 or 6 hours of death metal every single day of the week. So by the time I get home, I want to do something quiet, to get a little balance. So I was playing and recording the music for the Story and Meditation thing, but at the time there was no thought that it would actually be anything. I was just doing it for personal relaxation, for my own calming, trying to get a balance in my life. Matt Jacobson from Relapse suggested, hey, a lot of people would probably love to hear this. So I said, well, why not? Why not? I'll share it.
Yeah, because you say I want something more quiet, but at the same time it's not really quiet because
exactly.
If anything, it's a rather. I really like it. I really enjoy. In fact, I discovered Nile through your solo albums instead of the other way around. Yeah.
No, it's very interesting.
But it is sort of a stressful music because there is this dark and ominous feeling to it.
I believe that true heaviness and dark spiritual musicalities don't necessarily depend upon Marshall stacks and big drum kits and big walls of sound.
It worked for Wagner, it worked for Karl Orff.
Exactly. I love Karl Orff. I've stolen so many things from Karl Orff. So, yeah, real music, you should be able to get those dark moods using normal instruments if you're really making music. Yeah. So that's the thing with the Saurian albums. It does get dark. It does get involved, and it does it without using big blazing walls of electric guitar.
Last year Now going back to Nile, you released I Needed to Take a Name. Your very first name on Worship the Animal was released. Why did you want to?
Well, actually, I didn't.
Why didn't you want to?
I got a phone call from our ex-drummer, Peter Mora, and he and I have been friends for like 30 years. He said, hey man, times are tough. The economy's awful. I got to make my house payment. I know you don't want to re-release this demo. I know you don't want anybody to hear it, but dude, I really need the money. Would you consider it? Now, when a friend of yours for 30 years asks you something like that, and him making his house payment is just a yes or no, if you're any kind of person, you say yes.
Since you mentioned this, would you say that the economic situation for musicians, even for a band of the size of Nile, that is a rather considerable size, do you think that it's still very hard for you to be able to make money?
Absolutely. We have to be very careful when we tour to actually come home with money, because even though you're on tour and you're having fun playing music, meeting fans, the bills still have to be paid. The electric company still expects their electric payment to be made. The house payment, you still have to make it. Car insurance, gas in the car. Gas! Jesus Christ! Look at the price of gasoline lately. Yeah.
Once again, regarding Nile, your interest in Egyptology is rather legendary. The whole Nile band, the title, everything has been around Egyptology. First, when did you start feeling this historical interest? And also, why did you decide to make music out of it? And not just that, but also like the Mesopotamian civilization, sort of focusing on this ancient culture.
Well, originally the interest came when I was a kid. My dad was very fond of like epic movies, like Ben-Hur, The Ten Commandments, Land of the Pharaohs, Sodom and Gomorrah. Anything Cecil B. DeMille. Yeah, my dad loved that shit. So as a kid, I was, an impressionable little 8, 10-year-old or whatever. I, kind of got interested in it. Not only the history, but also the music that they used with these movies to help tell the stories. So years later, when I found myself in a metal band and found ourselves with the name called Nile, I went, what would one do? What would one write if one were in a band called Nile? What could you do?
Do you ever, of course, I probably don't know as much as you do regarding Egyptology, but there's obviously a lot of material to write about. But do you ever think maybe it gets monotonous, maybe we should try something else?
I don't feel that. For other people, that might be the case. I would say there's plenty of metal bands singing about plenty of different things. Take your pick. This is what we're doing, and we're having fun. We enjoy what we're doing. And I have no fear of ever running out of source material. With all the history there is, come on.
H.P. Lovecraft is another one of your sources and your interests. Are there any other authors that you feel interested in enough so kind of to justify writing music about?
Edgar Rice Burroughs was an early favorite of mine. Robert Howard, Lynn Carter, Herbert. Yeah.
Next year is the 20th anniversary of the beginning of Nile. Not so much of the first release, but when Nile was formed.
Right.
Did you know this? Are you planning to do?
Every interviewer says this. So
really?
Even if I didn't know, I couldn't forget. Everyone reminds me every day.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
But are you planning something?
No, but I am taking suggestions.
An orgy?
But if you bring some girls,
all right.
Then
but,
okay.
Have you ever thought about, would you think it would be possible for you, for instance, to play in Egypt?
I'd love to play in Egypt. I'd love to. Is it possible?
I think that would be actually, in a serious answer would be, live in Egypt, a DVD or something. But
well, sure, I'd love to.
It's obvious that the political and situation in Egypt is not really welcoming to death metal bands.
It's not conducive.
Right,
yes.
Not right now. Did you ever hear from Chris Lawless as to why he went AWOL?
Yes, I finally heard from him. He returned from his AWOLness.
Was he finding himself in India?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, trying to find himself. Yeah.
Sort of an eat, pray, love kind of girl.
Yeah. The reasons for Chris disappearing are now known to the band, but we don't talk about them. It would probably be a disservice to Chris.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's absolutely understandable. How do you feel about the heavy metal scene today? Are there current bands that you like?
Lecherous Nocturne, it's a band I love. Flesh God Apocalypse, Crisian, Immolation, fuck yes.
You have been called one of the best, I think Decibel said that you're the fourth best heavy metal guitar player in history, although it's about a 6-year-old history. Do you see yourself as that talented? Because, I mean, obviously we do believe so, but do you ever think, Jesus, I'm good?
Well, there are guys that didn't even make that list that I have an immense amount of respect for.
For example?
Moises Kozlin. I take guitar lessons from him once in a while. Rusty Cooley didn't make that list, but man, I take lessons from him. So what does that say? I think lists are kind of a guideline, but they're not absolute.
Well, there's always a subjective element to it, but usually the people who end up in the top 10 or the top 20, it's because, well, they're definitely not bad and they're very good. So do you think that you have reached a point in your career as a guitarist in which you've actually surpassed most of the competition? It's not, I mean, without false modesty, it's just a kind of a factual statement.
Well, for me, I think in terms like you're never too good to stop learning and keep growing. I think in down to earth terms. Am I as good as I can be, as I one day will be? I still have a lot to do. There's still guitar playing that I want to achieve. So I don't think about those things. That's for other people to think about. For me, I just keep playing, keep practicing, keep learning.
Now, of course, when you ever ask a guitar player, what do you suggest to people who want to learn? The obvious one is practice. But I think that a better one is, what do you think people who want to be guitar players should avoid? Like, do you think are mistakes that can actually damage you when you're learning?
I would say the first thing is, whatever people say online, you have to try and not listen to. And that's very tough.
In what sense do you mean? Like not getting online lessons or?
No, I mean get online lessons. Absolutely. There's a wealth of knowledge as a guitar player in these times to be gleaned from other guitarists online. I'm saying don't listen to what other people fucking say. Because the true judge of yourself is when you listen to yourself. If you want to make progress, you have to use your ear and you have to listen to yourself. That's more important.
Todd Ellis, since he joined for your latest album, Todd Ellis, your new bass player.
Yes.
Did he change the outcome of the album? Did he put something into it that wouldn't have been there?
Todd isn't on the album. Todd isn't on the album.
He's not?
Nope.
I screwed up part of my research.
That's okay. That's okay. A lot of people are under that presumption. It's absolutely okay. I don't mind. Dallas and I played the bass on the record.
He joined before the release of the album, so I believe that people assumed that he was going to be...
It's a natural assumption. But we had a Black Dahlia Murder tour in America scheduled for immediately when we finished the record. Because Chris had gone AWOL while we were making the record, it threw all our plans into disarray. So we hired Todd and we're training him on the live sets while we were trying to make the record. To have put upon Todd the immense task of also learning all the songs well enough to play them on the record, that was too big of a thing. It was enough mountain of a work just to learn the live set.
The reaction to your latest album, when you do concerts and everything, do you see that it's been positive? Or do you feel that people still prefer your old material?
Well, what I see, standing on stage, looking out in the audience, I see the audience just, enjoying the new songs. When we played the new track, Supreme Humanism of Megalomania on the Black Dahlia Murder tour, a lot of people stopped what they were doing to stand and listen. They would stop moshing. they would stop doing whatever it was they were doing and stand and listen.
Do you think that your songs are so complex that they usually require such long titles?
We just named the song, what it kind of needs to be named, If it is enduring the eternal molestation of flame, could you really express that same thing if you shorten it to enduring?
It is hard to reflect the sexual abuse of flame in any other terms.
Exactly.
Are there any other Karl Sanders albums in the works, and could there eventually be a solo tour for you, or is the music just not made for a live setting?
I think A, it is not made for a live setting, and B, I also have a family that I have to occasionally pay attention to and act like a parent once in a while. So to tour two different bands, Nile and a solo career, would be unfair to my family, who also needs me at home.
And regarding another Karl Sanders album now?
I really want to get started on the next one. I got a lot of ideas floating around up here. So hopefully during the next break that we get, I'll have some time to devote to it.
Any final message for your fans?
Keep it brutal, keep it metal.
I'm straight, I'm sorry.
So am I. I love girls.
Me too. We have something in common.
That's true.
Maybe this is the beginning of something.
It could be. Every time you take an ass beating, it's really an education in disguise. An education in disguise.